Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read 2 Kings 1 to 6, Proverbs 20, and Psalm 144. Let's get started. After the death of Ahab, Moab rebelled against Israel. Now Ahab fell through the lattice in his upper chamber in Samaria, and lay sick. So he sent messengers to me. Go inquire at Baal-zebub, the god of Echo, whether I shall recover from the sickness. The angel of the Lord said to Elijah the Tishbite, Alright, go out to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say to them, Is it because they are no god of Israel that you are going to inquire at Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron? Now therefore thus says the Lord, you shall not come down from the bed to which you were born, but you shall surely die. So Elijah went, and the messengers turned to him, and he said to them, Why have you returned? And they said, There came a man to meet us, and he said, Go back to the king. And who said, Thus says the Lord, is because there is no god of Israel, that you are sending to inquire at Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron. Therefore you shall not come down from the bed to which you were born, but you shall surely die. He said to them, What kind of man was he who came up to meet you and told you these things? They answered him, He wore a garment of hair with a belt of leather about his waist. And he said, Is Elijah the Tishbite? And the king said to him, A captain of 50 men with his 50. He went up to Elijah, who was sitting on top of the hill, and he said to him, And man of God, the king said, Come down. And Elijah answered the captain of 50. If I am a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. And fire came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. And again the king said to him, Another captain of 50 men with his 50. And he answered and said to him, A man of God, this is the king of God, come down quickly. And Elijah answered him, If I am a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. And the fire of God came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Again the king sent the captain of the third 50 with his 50. And the third captain of 50 went out and came and fell on his knees before Elijah and entreated him, A man of God, here come my life, and the life of these 50 sons of you. Be precious in your sight. Behold, I came down from heaven and consumed the 2 former captains of 50 men with their 50. But now let my life be precious in your sight. And the angel of the Lord said to Elijah, Go tell him, Do not be afraid. He arose and went down with him to the king and said, Thus says the Lord, because you sent messengers to inquire about Baal-zebub, the god of Echo, is it because there is no god of Israel to inquire of Israel? Therefore you shall not come down from the bed to which you are born, and you shall surely die. So he died according to the word of the Lord that Elijah spake. Jehoram became king in his place in the second year of Jehoram the son of Jehoshaphat, because Ahab had no son. And now the rest of the acts of Ahab that he did, I did not read in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. When the Lord was about to take Elijah up to heaven by a whirlwind, Elijah and Elisha were on their way from Gilgal. And Elijah said to Elisha, Please stay here, for the Lord has sent me as far as Bethel. But Elisha said, As the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, I will not leave you. So they went down to Bethel, and the sons of the prophets who were at Bethel came up to Elisha and said to him, Do you know that today the Lord will take his master from over you? And he said, Yes, I know. Keep quiet. Elijah said to Elisha, Please stay here, for the Lord has sent me to Jericho. And he said, As the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, I will not leave you. So they came to Jericho. The sons of the prophets who were at Jericho drew near to Elisha and said to him, Do you know that today the Lord will take away your master from over you? And he answered, Yes, I know. Keep quiet. And then Elijah said to him, Please stay here, for the Lord has sent me to the Jordan. And he said, As the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, I will not leave you. So the 2 of them went off. 50 men of the sons of the prophets also went and stood at some distance from him. And they were both standing by the Jordan. And Elijah took his cloak and rolled it up and struck the water, and the water was parted to the one side and to the other, and the two of them could go over on dry ground. When they had crossed, Elijah said to Elisha, Ask what I shall do for you, therefore I am taken from you. And Elisha said, Please let there be a double portion of your spirit on me. And he said, You have asked hard thing, yet if you see me as I am being taken from you, it shall be so for you. But if you do not see me, it shall not be so. And as they still went on and talked, behold, chariots of fire and horses of fire separated the 2 of them. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And Elisha said and cried, My father, my father. And the chariots of Israel and his horsemen. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and tore them in 2 pieces. And he took the cloak of Elijah that had fallen from him and went back and stood on the bank of the Jun. And he took the cloak of Elijah that had fallen from him and struck the water, saying, "There's the Lord, the God of Elijah." And when he struck the water was parted to the one side and to the other. And Elijah went over. And when the sons of the prophets who were Jericho saw him opposite them, they said, "The spirit of Elijah rested on Elisha." And they came to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. And he said, "Now they are with your servants 50 strong men. Please let them go and seek your master. It may be that the Spirit of the Lord has called him up and cast him upon some mountain or into some valley." And he said, "You shall not send him." And they urged him till he was ashamed. He sent therefore 50 men, and for 3 days they sought him but did not find him. And they came back to him while he was staying at Jericho. And he said, "Did I not say to you, do not go?" Now the men of the city said to Elijah, "Behold, the situation of this city is pleasant, as my Lord sees, but the water is bad, and the land is unfruitful." He said, "Bring me a new bowl and put salt in it." So they brought it to him, and he went to the spring of water and threw salt in it, and said, "Thus says the Lord, I have healed this water. From now on neither death nor miscarriage shall come from it." So the water has been healed to this day, according to the word that Elisha spake. He went from there to Bethlehem. While he was going up on the way, some small boys came out of the sea and jeered at him, saying, "Go up, you bald head, go up, you bald head." And he turned around, and when he saw them, he cast them in the name of the Lord. And 2 she-bears came out of the woods and tore 42 of the boys. From there he went on to Mount Carmel, and from there he returned to Samaria. In the 18th year of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, Jehoram son of Ahab became king of Israel in Samaria, and he reigned 12 years. He did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, though not like his father and mother. Well, he put away the pillar of Baal that his father had made. Nevertheless, he came to the sin of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, which he made Israel to say, he did not depart from it. Now Mesha the king of Moab was a sheep breeder, and he had to deliver to the king of Israel 100,000 men, and the war of 100,000 men. When Ahab died, the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Israel. So King Jehoram marched out of Samaria at that time and mustered all Israel. And he sent word to Jehoshaphat, and he went and sent word to Jehoshaphat, king of Judah. The king of Moab had rebelled against him. "We are going to battle against Moab." And he said, I'll go. And now is my people is your people. And horses are your horses. And he said, "By which way shall we march?" And Jehoram answered, "By the way of the wilderness of Edom." So the king of Israel went with the king of Judah and the king of Edom. And when they made a circuitous march of 7 days, there was no water for the army or for the animals that followed them. And the king of Israel said, "Alas, the Lord has called these 3 kings to give them into the hand of Moab." And Jehoshaphat said, "Is there no prophet of the Lord here, whom we may inquire from the Lord?" And one of the kings of Israel's servants is Elisha the son of Shaphat is here, who poured water on the hands of Elisha. And Jehoshaphat said, "The word of the Lord is with us." So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom went down to. And Elisha said to the king of Israel, "What have I to do with you? Go to the prophets of your father and to the prophets of your mother." But the king said to him, "No, it is the Lord who has called these 3 kings to give them into the hand of Moab." And Elisha said, "As the Lord of hosts lives, before whom I stand, were it not that I have regard for Jehoshaphat the king of Judah, I will neither look at you nor see you. And now bring me a musician." And when the musician played, the hand of the Lord came upon him, and he said, "Thus says the Lord, I will make this dry stream bed full of pools. But thus says the Lord, you shall not see wind or rain, but the stream bed shall be filled with water, that you shall drink, you, your livestock, and your animals. And this is a light thing in the sight of the Lord. You will also give the Moabites into your hand, and shall attack every fortified city and every choice city, and shall fell every good tree and stop all the springs of water, and ruin every good piece of land with stones." And next morning, about the time of the offering, the sacrifice, behold, water came from the direction of Edom, until the country was filled with water. Then all the Moabites heard that the kings had come up to fight against them. All who were able to put on armor, then the youngest to the oldest, were called and were drawn up at the border. And when they rose early in the morning, and the sun shone on the water, the Moabites saw the water opposite them as red as blood. And they said, "This is blood. The kings have surely fought together and struck another down." Now then Moab to the spoil. And then they came to the camp of Israel. The Israelites were and struck the Moabites, so they fled before them. And they went forward, striking the Moabites as they went. And they overthrew the city, and on every good piece of land, every man threw his stone until it was covered. And he stopped every spring of water and felled all the good trees, till only its stones were left in Kirhesha. And the slingers surrounded and attacked it. And the king of Moab saw that the battle was going again. He took with him 700 swordsmen to break through opposite the king of Edom, but they could not. And he took his oldest son, who was to reign in his place, and offered him for a burnt offering on the wall. And there came great wrath against Israel, and they withdrew from him and returned to their own. The wife of one of the sons of the prophets cried to Elisha, "Your son, my husband, is dead, and you know that your servant feared the Lord. The creditor has come to take my two children to your slaves." And Elisha said to him, "What shall I do for you? Tell me, what have you in your house?" In the house, and she said, "Your son has nothing in the house except a jar of oil." And he said, "Go outside, borrow vessels from all your neighbors, empty vessels and not too few, and go in and shut the door behind yourself and your sons, and pour into all these vessels. And when one is full, set it aside." So she went from him and shut the door behind herself and his son. And as she poured, he brought the vessels to her. Then the vessels were full. She said to his son, "Bring me another vessel." And he said, "There's not enough." And the oil stopped flowing. And he came and told the man of God, and he said, "Go, sell the oil and pay your debts, and you and your sons can live on the rest." One day Elisha went to Shun, where a wealthy woman lived, who urged him to eat some food. So whenever he passed that way, he would turn in there to eat food. And she said to her husband, "Behold, now I know that this is a holy man of God, who is continually passing over. Let's make a small room on the roof with walls, and put there on for him a table, a chair, and a lamp, so that whenever he comes to us, he can go in there." One day he came there, and he turned into the chamber and rested there. And he came to Gehazi and said, "Call the Shunammite." And when he had called her, she stood before him, and she said, "Say now to her, see, you've taken all this trouble for us. What is to be done for you? Would you have a word spoken on your behalf to the king or to the commander of the army?" She answered, "I dwell among my own people." And he said, "What is then to be done for her?" Gehazi answered, "Well, she has no son, and her husband is old." He said, "Call her." And when he called her, she stood in the door. He said, "At this season and at this time next week you shall embrace her." And she said, "No, my lord, O man of God, do not lie to yourself." But the woman conceived, and she bore a son about that time the following spring, as Elisha had said to her. When the child had grown, he went out one day to his father among the reapers, and he said to his father, "Oh, my head, my head!" The father said to his son, "Carry him to his mother." And when he had lifted him and brought him to his mother, the child sat on her lap until day, and then he died. And she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, and shut the door behind him and went out. And then she called to her husband and said, "Send me one of the servants and one of the donkeys, that I may quickly go to the man of God and come back again." And she said, "Why will we go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath." He said, "All is well." And she saddled the donkey, and she said to her servant, "Urge the animal on, do not slacken the pace for me unless I tell you." So she set out and came to the man of God at Mount Carmel. When the man of God saw her coming, he said to Gehazi his son, "Look, there's the Shunammite. Run at once to meet her and say to her, 'Is all well with you? Is all well with your husband? Is all well with the child?'" And she answered, "All is well." And when she came to the mountain of the man of God, she caught hold of his feet. And Gehazi came to push her away, but the man of God said, "Leave her alone, for she is in bitter distress. The Lord sent him from me, and he has not told me." And she said, "Did I ask you, my lord, for a son? Did I not say, 'Do not deceive me'?" And he said to Gehazi, "Tie up your garment and take my staff in your hand and go. If you meet anyone, do not greet him, and if anyone greets you, do not reply, and lay my staff in the face of the child." Then the mother of the child said, "As the Lord lives and you yourself leave, I'll not leave." So he arose and followed her. Gehazi went on ahead and laid the staff in the face of the child. And there was no sound or sign of life. Therefore he returned to Peter and told him, "The child is not awakened." And when Elisha came into the house, he saw the child lying dead on his bed. So he went and shut the door and put it behind the two of them, and prayed to the Lord. And he went up and lay on the child, putting his mouth on his mouth, his hand on his eye, and his hands on his head. And he stretched himself upon it. And the flesh of the child became warm. And he got up again, walked once back and forth in the house, and went up and stretched himself upon it. The child sneezed 7 times, and this child opened his eyes. And he saw Gehazi and said, "Call the Shunammite." So he called her, and when she came to him, she said, "Pick up your son." And he came, fell at his feet, bowed to the ground. And she picked up her son and went out. And Elisha came again to Gilgal when there was a famine in the land. And as the sons of the prophets were sitting before him, he said to his son, "Set on the large pot, and boil stew for the sons of the prophets." One of them went out into the field to gather herbs, and found a wild vine, and gathered it from his lap, and that full of wild gourds, and came and cut them up into a pot of stew, not knowing what they were. And they poured out some for the men to eat. Now while they were eating of the stew, they cried, "Oh man of God, there is death in the pot, and they cannot eat of it." And he said, Then bring flour." And he threw it into the pot, and he threw it into the pot, and said, "Pour some out for them, that they may eat." And there was no harm in the pot. And then came from Baal Shalisha, bringing the man of God bread of the first fruit, 20 loaves of barley, and fresh ears of grain in a sack. Then Elisha said, "Give to the men, that they may eat." His son said, "How can I set this before 100 men?" So he repeated, give them to the men, that they may eat, for thus says the Lord, they shall eat and have some left. So he said before, and they ate and had some left. According to the word of the Lord, Naaman, commander of the army of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master and in high favor, because by him the Lord had given victory to Syria. He was a mighty man of valor, but he was a leper. The Syrians on one of their raids had carried off a little girl from the hand of Israel, and she was in the service of Naaman's wife. And he said to her mistress, would that my Lord were with the prophet who was in Samaria, she would cure him of his leprosy. Then Naaman went in and told her, thus spoke the girl from the hand of Israel. And then the king of Syria said, go down, and I will send a letter to the king of Israel. So he went, taking with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 changes of the pot. And he brought the letter to the king of Israel, which read, and when this letter reaches you, know that I have sent to you Naaman my son, that you may cure him of his leprosy. When the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes and said, that my God, to kill and make alive, let this man send his words to me to cure a man of his leprosy. When they consider, see how he has seeking a quarrel with me. When Elisha and the God of the king heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes, he sent to the king, saying, why have you torn your clothes? Let him come out to me. Do you know that there is a prophet in Israel? And Naaman came with his horses and chariots and stood at the door of Elisha. Then Elisha sent a messenger to him, saying, give him wash in the Jordan 7 times, and your flesh shall be restored, and you shall be clean. Then Naaman was angry and went away, saying, behold, I thought that he would surely come out to me, and sternly call upon the name of the Lord his God, and wave his hand over the place and kill the leper. I am not abandoned and far from the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel. Dare I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. And his servants came near and said to him, my father, it is a great word the prophet has spoken to you. Will you not do it? Has he actually said to you, wash and be clean? So he went down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the word of the man of God. And his flesh was restored like the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. Then he returned to the man of God. He and his company, and he came and stood before him. And he said, behold, I know that there is no God in all the earth but in Israel. So accept now a present from himself. And he said, as the Lord lives, before whom I will receive none. And he asked him to take it, but he refused. And Naaman said, if not, please let there be given to your servant 2 mule loads of earth. From now on your servant will not offer burnt offerings or any sacrifice to any God but the Lord. And this man I made the Lord pardon his Sabbath. Then my master goes into the house of Roman to worship there, leaning on my arm, and I bow myself in the house of Roman. When I bow myself in the house of Roman, the Lord pardoned his servant in this manner. He said to him, go in peace. When Naaman had gone from him a short distance, the lady, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, said, see, my master has spared this man in Syria, in not accepting from the and what he brought. As the Lord lives, I will run after him and get something from him. So Gehazi followed Naaman. And when Naaman saw someone running after him, he got down from his chariot to meet him and said, is all well? And he said, all is well. My master sent me to say, that you have just now come to me from the hill country of Ephraim, 2 young men of the sons of the prophets. Please give them a talent of silver and 2 changes of clothing. And Naaman said, be pleased to accept 2 talents. And he urged him tied up 2 talents of silver in 2 bags with 2 changes of clothing, and laid them in 2 of his servants. Then he carried them before Gehazi, and when he came to the hill, they took them from their hand and put them in the house. And he sent the men away, and they departed. He went and stood before his master, and Elisha said to him, where have you been, Gehazi? And he said, your son went nowhere. But he said to him, did not my heart go when the man turned from his chariot to meet you? Was there a time to take money and garments, olive orchards and vineyards, sheep and oxen, male servants and female servants? Therefore the leprosy of Naaman shall cling to you, and to your descendants forever. You see, whenever his presence, a leper like snow. Now the son of the prophet said to Elisha, see, the place where we dwell under your charge is too small for us. Let us go to the Jordan, and each of us get there a log, and let us make a place to dwell for us to dwell in. And he said, go. And then one of them said, will you please to go with yourself? And he said, I'll go. So he went with him. And when they came to the Jordan, they cut down trees. And as one was felling a log, his axe head fell into a log, and he cried out, alas, my master, it was borrowed. And the man of God said, where did it fall? And he showed him the place. He cut off a stick and threw it in there, and made the iron flow. And he said, take it up. So he reached out his hand and took it. And once when the king of Syria was warring against Israel, he took counsel with the servants, saying, as such and such a place shall be my camp. But the man of God sent word to the king of Israel, beware that you do not pass this way, for the Syrians are going down there. And the king of Israel sent to the place about which the man of God told him. Thus he used to warn him, so that he saved for himself there more than once or twice. And the mind of the king of Syria was greatly troubled because of this thing. And he called his servants and said to him, may not show me who is at last ruler of the king of Israel. And one of his servants said, no, my lord, again. Elisha the prophet who was in Israel tells the king of Israel, the words that you speak in your bedroom. And he said, "Go tell and see where he is, that I may send and seize him." He was told him, "He's in Dothan." He sent their horses and chariots and a great army. And he came by night to the sea. And the servants of the man rose early in the morning, and went out. Behold, an army with horses and chariots were following the sea. And the servant said, "Alas, my master, what shall we do?" And he said, "Do not be afraid, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them." And Elisha prayed and said, "O Lord, please open his eyes that he may see." So the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. And when the Syrians came down against him, Elisha prayed to the Lord, and he said, "Please strike this people with blindness." So he struck them with blindness in accordance with the prayer of Elisha. And Elisha said to him, "This is not the way, this is not the sea. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom you seek." And he led them to Samaria. As soon as they entered Samaria, Elisha said, "O Lord, open the eyes of these men, that they may see." So the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw. And behold, they were in the midst of Samaria. And as soon as the king of Israel saw, he said to Elisha, "My father, shall I strike them down? Shall I strike them down?" "Yes, you shall not strike them down. Would you strike down those whom you have taken captive with your sword and with your bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master." So he prepared for them a great feast, and when they had eaten and drunk, he sent them away, and they went to their master. And the Syrians did not come again on raids into the land of Israel. Afterward, Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, mustered his entire army, and went up and besieged Samaria. There was a great famine in spirit, as they besieged her, until a donkey's head was sold for 80 shekels of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 shekels of silver. And as the king of Israel was passing by on the wall, the Lord cried out to him, saying, "Help my lord." He said, "If the Lord will not help you, how shall I help you? From the threshing floor or from the winepress?" And the king asked him, "What was your told?" She answered, "This woman said to me, 'Give me your son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow.' So he boiled my son and ate. And on the next day I said to her, 'Give me your son, and I will eat him.' But she hid her son. And the king heard the words of the wall, and he told his place. Now he was passing by on the wall. And the people looked, and behold, he shackled with knee on his body. And he said, 'May God do so to me and more, if the head of Elisha the son of Shaphat remains on his shoulders today.' Elisha was sitting in his house, and the elders were sitting with him. And the king had dispatched 2 men from the presence, that before the messenger arrived, Elisha said to the elders, 'Do you see how this murderer has sent to take on my head? Look, when the messenger comes, shut the door and hold the door fast against him.' He not the sound of his master's feet behind. And while he was still speaking with him, the messenger came down to him and said, 'The trouble from the Lord. Why should I wait for the Lord any longer?'" Proverbs 20. Wine is a mocker, strong drink of blow, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. The terror of a king is like the growling of a lion. Whoever provokes him to anger forfeits his life. It is an honor for a man to keep aloof from strife, for every fool will be quarreling. A sluggard does not plow in the autumn, he will seek a harvest and have nothing. The purpose in a man's heart is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. Many a man proclaims his own self as love, but a faithful man he can find. Righteousness who walks in his integrity, but stars shown after. The king who sits on his throne of judgment winnows all evil with his eyes. You say, "I made my heart pure, I am clear from my sin." Unequal weight and unequal measures are both alike an abomination to the Lord. Even a child makes himself known by his acts, for I will that his conduct is pure and upright. Hearing ye and the seeing eye, the Lord has made them both. Love nor sleep, lest you come to poverty. Open your eyes and do it plenty of good. Bad says the Bible, when he goes away, then he bursts. And the golden abundance of costly stones, like the loose and large are precious jewels. So the man comes in for his security for a shame, and hold in pledge when he puts up security for foreigners. But king bites the sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth will be full of gravel. Plans are established by counsel, by wise guidance wageable. Whoever goes about slandering will reveal secrets. Therefore do not associate with simple babbler. If one curses his father or his mother, his name will be put out in utter darkness. An inheritance gained hastily in the beginning will not be blessed in the end. Do not say, "I will repay you." Wait for the Lord, and he will deliver you. Unequal weights are an abomination to the Lord, and false scales are not good. Now a man's steps are from the Lord. How then can man understand his way? And it is a man to say rashly, "It is holy," and to reflect only after making vows. A wise king winnows the wicked and drives the wheel over them. The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all his innermost parts. Steadfast love and faithfulness beside the king, and by steadfast love for his throne is upheld. The glory of young men is their strength, but the splendor of old men is their grey hair. Those that wins cleanse away evil, stretch me clean the innermost parts. Psalm 144. Blessed be the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war, and my fingers for battle. He my step is not my fortress, my strong hand my deliverer, my shield and my and he in whom I take refuge of those people under me. O Lord, what is man that you regard him, or the son of man that you think him? Man is like a breath, his days are like a passing shadow. Power heavens, O Lord, and come down. Touch the mountains so that they smoke. Send flash forth the lightning and stand. Send out your eyes and breathe them. Stretch out your hand from on high. Rescue me and deliver me from the many waters. From the hand of foreigners, his mouth speaks lies. In his right hand is the right hand of falsehood. I will sing a new song to you, O Lord. Upon a strengthened harp I will play to you. You give victory to kings. He rescues David his servant from the cruel sword. Rescue me and deliver me from the hand of foreigners. His mouth speaks lies. From whose right hand is the right hand of falsehood. Their sons be in their youth be like plants full grown. Our daughters like corner pillars cut for the structure of a house. Our granaries be full, providing all kinds of produce. Our sheep bring forth thousands and 10,000s in our field. Our cattle be heavy with young suffering no mishap or failure in bearing. There be no cry of distress in our streets. Blessed are the people to whom such blessings come. Blessed are the people whose God is the Lord. Now let's start. I should now do the Lord's Prayer. Which thou is our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we also forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.